everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Fello Thinking Differently podcast. I'm your host, Alex Ficcari, and today we're going to be exploring Fello's fastest growing program, Self-Directed Services. Today, you'll hear from a current participant in Fello's Self-Directed Service program named Lauren. And we're going to hear about what self-direction services mean to her. But to start us off, we're going to be talking with Marc Weinstein, who's the Senior Director of Self-Directed Services program at Fello. So to learn a little bit more of the program, Marc, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Marc, I ask everybody this question all the time. And so why is it so important for us to think differently in our roles here at Fello, especially with self-directed services?
Yeah, I think that self-directed services really pushes us to think differently because it's run by participants. They're the boss of their services. Mm-hmm. And so it's just an individual approach. It's not us making these decisions. It's really the participant deciding.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And so would you say that in a nutshell is self-directed services, or what else makes self-directed services what it is?
So self-directed services is a model that participants can choose when they are accessing their services. And in this case, they are they're boss of their own company.
And their own care.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. So they directly employ their staff. They're making employment decisions. And they also have the ability to move money in their budget that's approved by the state, depending on what their needs are at that time.
Okay. So in a sense, we're also giving people their independence rather at that next level rather than some sort of program they just sign up for.
Correct. Right. They're not fitting into a program.
Okay, great. And so would you say, maybe you could tell us a little bit about the history of self-directed services and maybe why is it different from other programs that are out there? Because I think a lot of people don't understand how long the services, in fact, has been around. And is this is it a local thing? Is it a national thing? So maybe you could talk about that a little bit.
Right. So self-directed services is available across the country in most states. Most states have it. Great. And they serve different populations. It really started back in the 1970s. All right. When people are looking to live lives that they are determining through self-determination rather than someone telling them what to do. It's really an evolution for services for people where they previously didn't have a lot of say in what their lives look like. And this is just more of a movement towards self-determination. And it's been available in Maryland as a choice of service delivery since 2006.
Wow.
So it's been 20 years.
Wow, that's phenomenal. So maybe you could tell us a little bit. I love this concept of people getting their independence and being an employer. I want you to maybe dig into that, where people with disabilities are now taking roles in employer to manage these services. What does it typically look like for them on a day-to-day basis?
Sure. So if you think about someone who's running their own business, they're making day-to-day decisions about their employers, who needs to be hired, who needs some training, maybe someone who needs to be terminated if some things aren't working out well, right? They are reviewing paperwork, signing off. Right. Whatever a boss does, this is what people do here.
Yeah. What the boss says, it stays.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
That's great. And what would you say, as you talk with people with disabilities who benefit from this program, I mean, what do they see are the biggest positives of being a part of the program?
Sure. As we talk to people, one of the things that comes out a lot is the flexibility that this program offers for them. Okay. Because they can hire whoever they want to hire. They can move their budget around to meet their needs at the particular time. Let's say if someone wants to find a job and working at night, they don't have to hope that a program can help them with that. They can say to their staff, like, dude, you're helping me find a job at night. Yeah. So that's how it is. So the flexibility is really there. And also the fact that they can hire who they want to hire. It helps them to establish longer lasting relationships with their staff.
Is there maybe another example you can share of like how the benefit of that is or how it really flushes out in the real world for participants?
Yeah, I think a lot of times we hear about people wanting to be more accessible to their community. Okay. So being connected to their friends in ways that they want to be connected.
So lunch, coffee?
I was going to say going to a bar.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, good.
That kind of stuff. And so you're not worried about a program saying you can't do that. They're like, no, I'm the boss. You were going to make this happen. Yeah. So people really just love the flexibility of it.
Okay, that's great. And now, if you were to think about Fello's philosophy about person-centeredness, how does that manifest in self-directed services, and how does it show up on a daily basis?
Sure, yeah. I think that for Fello, we're rooted in person-centeredness. Whatever we do is really for the person, they drive that, and then the self-direction just takes it to a next level because we're not coming in to say, this is what you're going to do. They're telling us what to do. So it's just a really beautiful program.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And so what that kind of leans into the idea is I don't want to make assumptions, but it sounds like these programs are really about the individual, so it's very customizable. Is that fair to say?
It is fair to say. There are some limits that the state puts on for self-direction, but it's not a lot.
Okay.
And as time's gone on, it's been opened up to be more flexible. And so it's just based on a person's imagination and what they really want to have in their lives.
Wow. And that's important.
Absolutely.
We all have our own hopes and dreams.
Correct.
Right? So, yeah, that's great. What would you say are some of the aspects about the program and their families that they're most appreciative about? Because obviously it sounds like they have a lot to do now. It's a lot of work or things to keep them active. But what are the net results that people talk about that they're most appreciative of?
I think just like I said, it's just so much more flexible, and that people really appreciate that, and they can customize their service the way they want it. They're the boss, so they are making it work for them versus trying to fit into a program.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think, a lot of us take it for granted that, we go about our day. You want to stop for coffee, you want to do a certain task,
right.
We just do it.
Right.
And but for a lot of people, it sounds like what we've put together here is a program that really gives them that autonomy that they want, right?
It does. It helps people to live a spontaneous life like you and I want to have. So sometimes, with the program, sometimes you have to follow a schedule or go to a job or places with other people. Maybe you don't want to. Maybe you want to do something. Maybe you don't want to go bowling on Tuesday night. You just want to hang out at home or go to the movies or whatever it is.
Right.
So just like you and I, it just helps people live the lives they choose. They just might need a little bit more support to get there.
All right. Well, now's the perfect time to speak with Lauren, a current participant in the Self-Directed Services program. All right. Well, Lauren, let's dig in a little bit here. So let's start off by having you tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been with Self-Directed Services.
I have been in Self-Directed Services for 2.5 years after transitioning from traditional services after 10 years.
Oh, okay.
And I have joined Self-Direction because my son has also been a part of Self-Direction for the last 3 years. So bringing him into services, doing all the research, I really felt that Self-Direction would benefit both of us.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you first heard about Self-Directed Services and maybe why you decided to enroll?
Well, I first learned about DDA and the possible services about probably 18 years ago now.
Okay. Sure.
So I started with an application, sat on a wait list for a while, got enrolled in traditional services, and then in 2017, I had my son. When he was about 2, we started having a lot of challenges with safety and behavior management. And after some diagnoses and evaluations, it was highly recommended that he get some kind of supports. So, of course, I also applied for him with DDA services, and it went pretty quickly, but there was a big fight there. But once it was time, he was given an invitation to join a waiver, so I had to choose. Do I want him to do traditional services or self-direction? And with doing all the research and because of his age, it was going to be a lot easier and more beneficial to him to start self-direction.
Okay.
So from there, I also decided that I wanted to do self-direction for myself. So I've been in self-direction for about 2.5 years, and my son has been in self-direction now going on 3 years.
Oh, wow. So that's a really interesting dynamic. So you and your son, and so thank you for that. Tell us that. I think it really sets a tone for viewers here to understand how it can go beyond just one person, right? It's the family. And so let's see, what does self-direction continue? Why does it continue to be the best choice for you and the family in this 2.5, 3 years that you've been using it?
Well, for myself, self-direction has been really important because the disabilities and the health issues that I have, they continue to progress. So what I may be able to have done 2 years ago is a challenge now.
Yeah.
So I can change some of the supports that I need. If I need more hours, if I need, I don't know, another environmental assessment to look at my home environment and what would be more beneficial for me, self-direction really allows for that. As far as my son, we've had to really work on safety concerns. So we've had to have different types of staff trainings, which we can do with self-direction because we can request that in his budget, and it's been very beneficial. Since my son started self-direction services, there has been a huge improvement in safety concerns and behavior management.
That's
so
great.
I say all the best for self-direction.
That's great. And, can you maybe tell us a little bit of a story how being in self-directed services has maybe changed a particular aspect of your life?
For myself, I wouldn't have imagined being able to be a part of some of the things that I do now. I take part in my child's school activities. I am a part of PTA. He's in Cub Scouts. I'm part of committees for Cub Scouts. I get to go and do things with him, with the support of my staff, because otherwise I would really struggle. For instance, like a camping trip.
Sure.
That would really be a struggle for me because I wouldn't even know if I could get down on the ground.
Right.
And if I did, can I get back up?
Yeah.
So just having that extra support there is really important because I don't want to tell my child, oh, sorry, I can't go.
That? Yeah. Yeah.
But for my son with self-direction, again, 2 years ago, I would have been terrified to try to sign him up for activities like Cub Scouts because, one, elopement was a huge problem, but then there was the issues that he would have with peers. And it's a safety issue for him and for peers around him. But now that we have that support for him, he's doing all kinds of things. He's in Cub Scouts. He's played soccer. He does after-school programs, and he needs that.
Yeah.
The social and emotional growth that he's had in the last 2 years is because of the support of his staff.
Wow. That's phenomenal. So you're getting to live the lives you want to live. And, I would assume that, those bonds that you create and the people that you're interacting with, they just make it so much easier every day. So
Yes.
that's awesome. Thank you for that. That's really rewarding to hear that. You kind of mentioned this a little bit, but I'd like you to maybe drill down a little bit more if possible, where, what can you do because of self-services that you couldn't do without it? Without those services. I mean, you mentioned Boy Scouts and PTA, which is great. I love that. Is there anything else that maybe people might want to know about that makes it, self-directed services makes it easier?
Well, like I've said before, like home modifications
Okay.
has been helpful. And then just being able to go out into the community, even if it's just to go have lunch. I myself have really grown a lot of anxiety about going out into the community because of the possibility of falls, because of the trip that I would have to take on paratransit by myself.
Yeah.
But staff is able to take me to activities and events and then support me in those environments. Like I get to go to the YMCA. I can go swimming now. I couldn't do that before because I really didn't have someone to assist me changing clothes or making sure I can get in and out of the pool safely. It's really important, and it's been really good for me emotionally as well as my confidence.
Absolutely. That's amazing. That's beautiful. I appreciate that a lot. And so I guess what is something you wish more people knew about when it comes to self-directed? Is it just the awareness of the programs, or is there something specific about self-directed that people really should know more about?
It's work.
Okay.
It's a lot of work,
Yeah.
but it's worth it. you do need to, have that mindset going in.
Yeah.
That you have to sign timesheets. You have to stay on top of staff. You're managing staff. And if you're not the type of person that, like with myself, I don't like conflict. I really don't. So when it comes to, say, staff that are calling out a lot or, for whatever reason, constantly has car issues, it's like, I don't want to have that conversation. But if you want the best, if you want everything that self-direction can offer, there are things that you just got to suck it up and do. But self-direction has really been a benefit for myself and for my child. And I know a lot of other individuals that are in self-direction, and it's made a huge difference for them. So if you're able to put the work in, or you have a team behind you to put that work in, it's definitely worth it.
Wow. Well, that was well said. Thank you very much. I think that really will resonate for a lot of people. So thank you, Lauren.
You're welcome.
Marc, I just have a few more questions for you.
Sure.
So how have you seen self-directed services change over your career as well as your time here at Fello?
Yeah, so I've been with Fello for almost 3 years, but I've been working in the space for over 30 years. So I've seen the beginnings of self-direction. It used to be called New Directions. When it first started off, it started off slowly. It was something that people didn't really fully understand. It wasn't really a choice people were making. So for the first many years, it was only a few hundred participants who were selecting it. And it's become much more of a viable choice for people in this last few years.
So speaking of the last 5 years, tell me about some of that growth that you've seen. I mean, what's been notable?
Sure. It's been really an explosion of growth.
Okay.
And specifically after the pandemic, people were really choosing self-direction because providers were less able to provide services to newer people because everybody was kind of shut in at that point. So it became a really viable choice for people. And just to give you some numbers, back in 2019, Fello was serving a little over 800 participants in self-directed services, and now we're over 3,500.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's been a big explosion.
Real growth. So explosion was not an understatement or exaggeration.
No. It's matter of fact, last year we onboarded over 500 new participants.
That's amazing.
That's been a huge growth, correct.
Wow. All right. And so as part of the story with self-direction, you have to provide services all over, especially more rural areas.
Yes.
Could you maybe speak a little bit about how you support people at a statewide level?
Sure. Yep. Like you said, it's available for across the state. And traditionally, folks in rural areas, when self-direction wasn't around, they had a hard time accessing services because providers weren't in that area. And so they were kind of like maybe left out of getting services.
That's unfortunate.
Yes, but now self-direction, as long as they know people that they want to hire, it's available for them, and they can access services and benefit from all the things that are good about the service.
Yeah. So how would you know if somebody's ready, if self-directed service is right for them?
Yes. So I think that it's really important for them to understand their role and responsibilities. It sounds great. It is great, but there's a lot of things that people need to understand because like we talked about before, you're the boss and there's a lot to go into it. On a daily basis, there's a lot to do. So the first step I would do if I was a participant is contact your coordinator of community services, your CCS, and they will be able to talk to you about what the role is and what the responsibilities are so you can make an informed choice if this is right for you.
So what should listeners do if they want to learn more and potentially enroll in self-directed services?
Sure, yeah. I think one good place to look, it would be on our website, fello.org.
Okay.
You can navigate to the self-directed services page. There's lots of good information there. If you're really interested, you can fill out an interest form, and someone from Fello will contact you and answer all your questions.
All right, Marc. Well, thank you very much for everything. It's been great having you on the show today, and I hope you had a good time.
I did. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for watching, and we hope you've enjoyed listening and watching again to Fello's Thinking Differently podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Alex Ficcari. Until next time, take care.